So I hired Candace Owens 4.5 minutes after I met her. I saw passion and vision unlike anything that I've encountered. And from the first couple minutes afterwards, she's like, Charlie, you don't understand. Kanye West is going to come out as a conservative Trump supporter. I was like,
artists who are talented, who come out, and when they're existing within a corporation, they're adored and they're applauded. I mean, I'm out there speaking about Black Lives Matter, and that media said, go Candace, we love you. When I said, wait, actually, I don't agree with this many children dying. I don't agree with any of this. Then flipped, did a complete 180, tried to wacko Cando me, tried to pretend that I'm completely illogical and coming apart. For me, this topic, Charlie Kirk, who murdered him, there isn't a single topic in politics that is happening on this planet that I care more about, okay? It is the killing of Charlie Kirk and nothing else for me. And in the aftermath of his assassination, people were downright nasty to me. You saw that. It was definitively not organic.
They tried to kill me here too, but they got Charlie Kirk, and it's just heartbreaking.
Who is they, BB? Who is they?
Always like say they. Like it's just a weird, it's like this is one of these psychology tactics where you're like, who is they? Who is they? And it's like,
because it sounds like you're saying Jews.
Does the word they mean Jews?
When you're talking about Jews, yes.
But if I'm not talking about Jews, then they doesn't mean Jews. When I say they want us to believe this or they want us to believe that and you hear Jews, that's your own derangement.
Who is they, BB?
Right. If I want to say something about Jews, I'll say it. If I want to say something about Israel, I will say it. If I want to, just like when I want to say something about Black people, I'll say it. When I was saying during BLM, they want us to believe, nobody said, do you mean Jews? And so again, it's one of these trash tactics to make people fearful to speak. If I want to say Jews, I will say Jews. I don't fear saying Jews.
Who is they, BB? Who is they?
In today's video, I would like us to take a circumference, 2 seconds, for maybe 2 or 5 to 30 seconds or a minute or two. You might find me defending Candace Owens, and please indulge me. I know that sometimes it's easier to look only at the consequence without asking the cause. But when you look at the cause completely, it's easier to understand the consequence. Now, there is something about philosophy and even the Bible that talks about being careful with the swords you forge, because those swords might end up hurting you, deleting you. Now, there is this thing about hoisted by his own petard. That is another method of saying that you did something so good, you forged it, perfected it, and it ended up turning on you. The law of unintended consequences. This principle states that an action taken to solve a problem may have unforeseen negative consequences that create new problems, sometimes worse than the original. You see, in this context, the sword or the action taken has detrimental outcomes on the person who created it. Now, let's look at a little biblical references, okay? We have the golden rule, which talks about the concept of judgment. The measures you use to judge others is the same measures that will be used to judge you. Yeah. And we have the trap for the wicked, where several Psalms describe the wicked being caught in their own traps. You see, in this case, the sword or the net, it's like it creates their downfall. For example, Psalm 7 verse 15 says, whoever digs a pit will fall into it. Whoever rolls a stone, it will roll back on them. I am saying this for the Christians out there, okay? So you see where it doesn't matter how you look at it, go up, come down. When you just simplify it with the law of karma, many people would think you're just speaking nonsense. They will, no. Listen, you can interpret the law of karma in many different ways. You can interpret it using psychology. If you say you don't believe in psychology, you can interpret it using biblical senses. If you say you don't believe in biblical senses, you can interpret it using good old parental knowledge, okay? The sword you forge, that sword is very consequential to your life. It doesn't matter what you believe in. The law of karma It's very, very instrumental and essential when you're doing anything in life. And you see Candace Owens? Candace Owens is some people's karma. And I'm not saying what she's doing is right. No. When I said I'm defending her for a minute, it doesn't mean I'm saying what she's doing is right. No. What I'm saying is this. It's the unevitable consequences some people invited upon themselves by forging the sword called Candace Owens. She recently became Mrs. Worldwide, most downloaded podcast in the world. And she took her time to thank a few people. And I think the people she thanked are essential in the forging of Candace Owens. She might have made it as if it's a joke, but this is the truth. Beneath many jokes are realities that people cannot say clean or clear without sounding strange. So usually people put it in the form of a joke to soften the blow or to make it look like just, oh, come on guys, laugh about it. Let's just have a fun. But the people she thanked while talking about her podcast, those are the people who created or who forged the sword called Candace Owens today. And she is using every tool they put into her toolbox to met on them the same measures they allowed her to do on others for years.
Here we are with Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens. Charlie, of course, is the head of Turning Point USA, and Candace is the communications director, is your official title, over at Turning Point USA. And it's really exciting to have you here. I'm glad you could squeeze in the time, because across the country for young people, and then also, how much do you think that the celebrity conversations shift conversations more broadly in the country?
I will say this, it came out of left field for me and for you, but not for her. When I first, so I hired Candace Owens 4.5 minutes after I met her. I saw passion and vision unlike anything that I've encountered. And from the first couple minutes afterwards, she's like, Charlie, you don't understand. Kanye West is going to come out as a conservative Trump supporter. I was like, I was like, what? I was like, come on. And I'm not very pop culturally literate. She's been doing better there.
More than I am. I mean, everyone's more pop culturally literate than I am.
No, you'd be surprised. I was like, wait, is he the one married to Beyonce? And she's like, did I just agree to work for this guy?
It was so bad.
We're doing a lot better now. She started to get me listening to his music, all sort of stuff, but like just pounding me. And she's like, this is going to happen. And so that's the first thing. But when this happened, and he said, I love the way Candace Owens thinks, that was one of his first public statements in a long time. And, she's since kind of has forged friendship and relationship there. But I think you saw Chance the Rapper come out, and he had to then denounce what he said, not all black people have to be Democrats. But I love this. And Candace pointed out so accurately on Twitter, Kanye didn't apologize for his vocalization of support. And now his music's doing better than ever. Doing better than Eminem, who went after him and tried to make a whole career out of it.
So I understood, obviously, coming from within a black home, which you can understand the stats, and it's important that you do. I think what you do is so important when you hit the stage and you ask these questions, when you talk about the single motherhood rate. But in order to understand how we got brainwashed, how did I'm always been a very smart girl. I've always placed well.
Yes, you've always been a smart girl, baby girl. You've always been Candy Baby. But you are a forged sword. This is the thing. If you have been listening to Candace Owens, only her, you would think that she and Charlie Kirk started Turning Point USA. But that is not the truth. Candace Owens joined Charlie Kirk, working under Charlie Kirk. You heard him say it. He hired her 4.5 minutes after meeting her. And you will hear several times, if you watch several of his content or her, even her, sometimes she admits that Charlie Kirk was sending her a lot of talking points, telling her how to attack the leftist talking points, explaining to her how to debate and all of those things. That is a sword Charlie forged. And it is not very strange to see why Candace Owens and Charlie built a bond from the get-go. You see, Turning Point USA started in 2012, specifically June 5th, 2012. Do you know how many years that is before Candace joined? Let's keep going. Who started Turning Point USA? Charlie Kirk co-founded Turning Point USA at the age of 18 with Bill Montgomery. Bill Montgomery. Bill Montgomery is an very old man who convinced Charlie Kirk not to go to college, but to pursue starting an organization like Turning Point USA. Now, in November 2017, that's 1 month to the end of 2017, which means maybe let's say by 2018 we will start counting. Okay, November 2017, Candace Owens joined Turning Point USA as the director of urban engagement. So let's just give it a 2018, because from November to December, that is 2 months, right? To the end of 2017. So 2017 was finishing. Now, do you know when she left? She left May 2019. So she worked for Turning Point successfully, not up to complete 2 years, or let's say give it the grace of 2 good years. She worked for Turning Point. And then she resigned after controversial remarks she made in December 2018 were publicized. That's the Hitler story. You remember that? Where she said if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. That's the problem. He had dreams outside of Germany. Some TPUSA campus chapters called for her resignation after the controversy. Now, this controversy happened in London. That is where she met her husband, George Farmer. Okay? When they came back from London in December 2018, after she met her husband, that is when the conversation she had in that London thing was publicized. Then they called for her resignation. That is 2018, which means by 2018, December 2018, she was probably not still a full member, because she was finishing, her time was finishing there, because December 2018 she came back from UK. She herself has said on her podcast that after she came back from the UK, when the thing where she met her hubby, things went south, which means from beginning of 2019 she was barely still there until they took her out completely. Then she joined PragerU. Now, Candace Owens would like you to think that she and Charlie Kirk started Turning Point USA. I'm a mason of Turning Point USA. I'm a mason of Turning USA. I am the foundation. I am the bricks. I'm the walls. I'm the tribe. I'm the philosophy. I'm everything. But this is the truth. Candace Owens joined TPUSA 5 years after it started and left within 2 years. A grace of 2 years, because we will not know what happened between the time she was hired, let's say in November 2017, and then what happened between the December 2018 when the thing was leaked, how long it took for her to leave, and how long it took for her to get to PragerU. But Candace would like you to think that she's the foundation, the stones, the wall, the roof over TP. Now, this is another important thing you should note. On her Brexit foundation, you remember the Brexit where she wanted Black Americans to leave the democratic plantation, as she calls it? That Brexit Foundation, which Candace Owens co-founded, announced a partnership with TPUSA in March 2023. This means Brexit would incorporate its message through TPUSA corporate structure, while Owens and Brandon Tatum retain leadership roles in Brexit. Remember, Brandon and her really were involved in the starting of it. So she is something that has been forged through a couple of corporations. You heard in the introductory message where she said when she's working with these corporations and she's insulting Black Lives Matters, she's talking about Black Lives. They say, yeah, go girl, go girl. But this is the thing Candace Owens forgot. You can only insult the organization that is yours. You can only insult your people. You can't turn back on theirs no matter what they do. She forgot to see that it is not just about bashing your people, because yes, it is okay for us to hold our people and ourselves into account when it comes to what we are doing. But we have to also ask ourselves, when does holding your people to account turn to hating your own people? There is a thin line where Candace always jumps in between criticizing or hating completely. And this is one thing I've always noticed. Candace Owens was bullied as a child when she was in school. I've seen classmates of her talking about it, where they said she was really bullied until the incident where the future governor of the state's son called her home, calling her really crazy things. And this is one thing I've noticed about Candace Owens. Candace Owens has never criticized those kids' actions. She has always considered them victims. But if it concerns a Black person, she's about to roast you to filth. And that is for something that you do, maybe inevitably bringing a negative result onto it. She will criticize the hell out of you. Let's take, for example, George Floyd. George Floyd was a flawed person. Everybody knows that. But it did not change the aspect that the way his life was handled, the way he was murdered, the way what happened to him was so wrong. You don't change the consequence or the action of someone depending on if you consider the person a good person or a bad person. You look at the action and you ask yourself, is this good or bad? For example, she is able to have a clear head to say, oh, I think that what they're doing to Palestinian children are wrong. Have you ever seen her ask herself, oh, maybe what did the Palestinians do? No, she doesn't. Do you know why? Because she tells herself that what they are doing is wrong, whether the Palestinians have ever done something to the Israelites or not. That's what she tells herself. But she doesn't ask that same question when it comes to a black person. It's the same thing when those white kids did what they did to her when she was in secondary school. She never gave anyone, she gave them so much grace, calling them victims as well. But then a man is murdered in cold blood. It doesn't matter what number of drugs were in his system or whatever. Was that action on him? The way the policeman had his foot on his neck, all the actions, even doctors have come out and testified that without that leg, that foot on that guy's neck for that long, he wouldn't have died. Yes, he had drugs in his system, but that wouldn't have. He was not the most perfect human being, yes, but that action was wrong. And yes, because they made him they used him as a part of the revolution of the Black Lives Matter starting up and taking heat. Listen, you don't know which incident will cause a serious rise up. Let's say, for example, Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is not the most perfect person that would have stirred up all the reactions people have seen, but his caused that reaction. It is just part of life. Sometimes certain people push a movement. You don't know why. The guy who started that of Black Lives Matter, it was just destined for him to have, his own got to a point. People watched that video and people were outraged all over the world. The only person who found nothing, who had no emotion, no feeling to it was Candace Owens. She had no feeling to that. And that is why I say the swords you forged. And do you know the kind of people she was aligning herself with when she was doing all of those things, calling out the Black Lives Matter? Yes, she had the right to, because we discovered also the things that they were doing that were so wrong. But the thing we ask is, where do you cross from criticism to hating? Because when we see your actions constantly praising a certain group of people, no matter what they do, and constantly criticizing another group, no matter what they do, and no matter if their intentions were pure, but then some of the consequences were wrong, then there is something going on there. It's the same like for women. Candace Owens will insult any woman. Me too, she doesn't want to hear it. Candace Owens says we live in a matriarchy, that women run the world. And do you know why? What she uses as substantiating that? Because women were able to come out and start the Me Too movement where they complained about the actions of men. That means this woman is telling me that women coming out and saying that we are tired of being assaulted, being humiliated, being done this kind of actions on. We are tired of it. Oh, that is a reason for Candace to say that we live in a matriarchy, that women can complain all day. But if men came out, what are men complaining about? Women are not sitting around doing what men are doing to women are saying to men. They are not. But if men came out and they had an experience, definitely we fall behind them, because it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. A bad action is a bad action. SA is SA. Victimization is victimization. It doesn't matter the gender. But when it comes to Candace, when it comes to a man, she would defend, especially a white man, all day, she defends. When it comes to a black person, she would think twice. You have to be in a level of victimhood that there is nothing she can look for you. Because if she finds your background, your great-grandmother did something wrong, Candace always will hang you on a tree. She doesn't care. And when it also comes to women, let's go to another example. Andrew Tate has so many allegations out there, but Candace Owens has never stopped defending that man. She even took a victim who complained about Andrew Tate. She had a full show when she was still on Daily Wire. She kept calling this girl's name, but she hid the name of a real SA predator. What do they call them? Somebody who committed the act. I'm trying to censor myself because we're on YouTube. Someone who actually committed an act. She was hiding the man's name, a man that is an offender that is already convicted, a convicted offender. She kept the man's name secret. What was her reason? That the time the man committed the act, the girl in question was a minor. But do you know what she never stopped doing? She called the girl who was a minor in that case. She published her name. And she made sure to go back to all her dating history, a minor. And she publicized everything, called her everything besides the child of God. Do you know why? Because she accused Andrew Tate. It's not that she proved in that episode that Andrew Tate didn't do anything to her. No. The reason she did that episode was to prove that this girl has a history with different men. Not that Andrew Tate did not do something to her. Do you see what I mean by the sword people forged? During that time, she was at Daily Wire. When she was chasing down on black people, she was with the TPUSA, this thing. Look, when she was at PragerU, she has been forged, stepped up, and she knows it. She says it here. She knows it. She knows that these people have pepped her up when she was insulting her community. If she goes after black people, nobody bats an eyelash. If she goes after, there were very few people who were really calling her out when she was going after black people. We have like the Young Talks. I think I've watched so many videos of people because I've been going back and watching Candace from before. And the truth is this woman has always been a menace to society. But because she was doing it to black people, nobody cared. And now she's gone even bigger. And you know the most unfortunate and seriously crazy thing? Candace Owens still plays victim up to now. They want to bankrupt me. My kids and I will not eat. Candace, you are married to a millionaire who comes from a billionaire family or whatever they are. Their lineage is so rich, it's unbelievable. But you don't care about money, of course. During this interview, where Charlie Kirk was telling Ben Shapiro that she met Candace Owens and 4.5 minutes, he hired her. During this time, Candace Owens says she and Charlie Kirk discovered that Ben Shapiro was trying to sabotage Charlie Kirk, right? She says that on a show recently. She's talking about it, talking about showing text exchange between her and Charlie. And those text exchange, there's no timestamp, but according to her, every text exchange should have timestamp. We will leave that there. I'm asking Candace, if you don't care about money, you have morals, you have truth, you care about your reputation, why would you go to work for Ben Shapiro after you and Charlie have discovered what a terrible person he is? Why would you go work for him after that? But no, Candace didn't. Like, you saw the video I did the other day explaining Candace's psychology when she's trying to put out there that, oh, Charlie Kirk loved money. He associated success with money, but she doesn't. She would burn everything down to get to one monicum of truth. That is Candy Baby. But when it comes to Charlie Kirk loved money. But still, she will still tell us that Charlie Kirk turned down money that was given to her by Israel, and that is why what happened to him happened to him. Look, you can't make this thing up. Another person she thanked was Ben Shapiro, which we have already expatiated where she came from. We can go back to everything she was doing during the time when she was at Daily Wire, how she went after any person, black person she could go after. She called everybody everything. Yes, there are some merits to like some of the Black Lives Matter things she discovered, where she discovered that some of them were really misappropriating funds. That was amazing. But she could have also done that appropriately without sounding like somebody who just hated the people or who just hates her own people. Yes, George Floyd was a flawed man, but what happened to him was wrong. And it doesn't require him to have been a saint for you to have said what happened to him was wrong. We are not asking you to defend a man's character, but just to say, oh, what happened to him was wrong. Candace Owens said him being the reason why people are protesting, it's not something she goes for. But she brings on a little child's information on her platform, spends a whole episode insulting that child, talking about her affairs with 39 to 40-year-old men. I'm serious. Why this child is 15 to 17? A child that is a minor. She put out her name. She doesn't care. But then when it came to the man who is a convicted offender, she hid his name. You can't make this song. And you know why she was defending an offender. Why putting out the name of a child who is, the child made bad decisions, but that's a minor. You can't compare what a minor does with adults of 39 to 40 years old. But she had no problem because she wanted to defend Andrew Tate. And during that time, like I said before, it's not like she had evidence to prove that Andrew Tate did not do anything to this girl. No, she was just trying to prove that the girl has a trail of other men she has seen who she uses a method of taking information from the previous boyfriend to pass on to the second boyfriend. I don't know where she was heading with that, but she sat there with a straight face and said all of that. And that's the kind of person you guys are fighting for.
More accolades, probably never be invited to a red carpet event, but that's okay because I've never been happier. And there are so many people to thank. It is true. We must thank Brigitte and Emmanuel Macron for that ill-advised lawsuit. Obviously, I feel like that ripped a hole in reality and made things even more global than they already were.
Yes, girl. Thank Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte. Like I said, she is being honest here, okay? She knows that Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel Macron's lawsuit put her on a global stage. That's why she begged them to send it, to drop the lawsuit, because she knew that when that lawsuit dropped, she's about to have a big time hit. Her being sued by the Macrons made her worldwide, Mrs. Worldwide. Everybody was wondering what she's saying. So everybody was tuned into her. And now her friend's situation came and just made it ooh. So she's being honest right here, okay?
I'd like to thank Kanye West, formerly Kanye West, he is now Ye, for the song Power, because the song Power really made me recognize that you have to stop listening to your haters. You also should recognize that you need the haters to inspire you to keep going. When somebody tells you you can't be something or you must be something, you have to stand up for yourself. You have to have the courage to say, I know the crowd is doing this, but I'm not doing it. And that was me when I no longer wanted to do the pro-Israel thing.
The pro-Israel thing, is it that you didn't believe in it or you were doing it because it suited you at that moment? Candace, I'm asking for a friend because you sound as if it is something you had not, you never believed in it before. It's like it's something that you did because it was a thing at the time. It's different when you are doing something at a certain point because you truly believe in it. And it's a different thing when you're doing it because it's just a thing that the people paying you money expect you to do and you don't mind doing it at that moment. It's just a question. And also, are we going to keep pretending that you've not seen the video of Kanye going around or you will not say anything about it? I dropped the bet on my channel asking what you guys think will happen. Will she keep ignoring it? Say he was forced to do it by the metrics? Or will she double down? Now she's only thanking him for the song Power. She's no longer thanking him for being such a revolutionary thought thinker in her life. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. I really don't mind, Candace. But I really need you to pay attention and address the other elephant in the room. We are going to dissect the two widows in the next video. That is going to be good. Ooh, God. Ooh, the widows are widowing.
Of course, as always, I thank Ben Shapiro. I thank Jeremy Boring. I thank the direction of travel and they realizing it before I did that I should be fired. Thank you for firing me. But and thank you for the publicity of the firing. Andrew Klavan, Christ is King. Thank you so much. You are a hero in my book.
As for what we need to talk about the Daily Wire people, we've discussed enough. But if you want a full deep dive, I don't mind doing that.
Tucker Carlson, I don't know. I feel like I should thank you because a lot happened because people thought that we were plotting behind the scenes and we never were. And thank you, Tucker Carlson, for the weeks that I get off when the media is attacking you instead of me. Now it's kind of together. It's Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, but thank you. I want to thank Australia. We see you, Australia. Tony Burke, thank you for banning us from an entire country, even though I didn't do nothing. I literally didn't do nothing, but I'm banned. And guess what? You got to hear me anyways. Ha, 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 Tony Burke. Okay, but in reality, also, obviously, thanking this incredible team, very small. It has stayed small. There's just 4 of us that work on the actual podcast every day. Savannah wearing a ton of hats, Chris in editing, Mark mansplaining, and also being our director, Skylar, the producer, who has to deal with my insane text messages all through the night because my brain is running a million different ways. It's just a really tiny little engine that keeps going. And so that's why we are actually resilient. We do need to hire more people. Thankful to my husband for figuring out how to operate an entire podcast business. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he deals with things. He doesn't have time to even watch the show, and he's just constantly putting out fires. Could not have done this without all of you guys.
Candace, you're very interesting. So Candace wants to tell us that her husband putting together a podcast for her was such a difficult thing. Girl, all you needed was a microphone and time to sit down and say whatever rubbish you're saying. Okay? Your husband didn't require any extracurricular thing. Please. People put together podcasts every 2 to 3 seconds without having one person they already know will listen to them. You have been a firebrand for almost a decade before your husband had to put a podcast for you, which means you already had a following. You already had people who wanted to know, and then your firing and everything that happened about it was very exciting. People wanted to know what happened. I was waiting for their first drop of the podcast because I wanted to see what happened, because Ben Shapiro was being very sketchy about discussing it. So we knew you were going to drop the tea, because Candace Owens, she can only have as many good days with anybody she's dealing with, okay? It's just a matter of time, and she's about to drop down on you, and you're about to face the wrath. That's what you forge with her. Believe me, it's about time. Anytime she flips and dreams bad about you, it's about to go down. So I don't know why she's talking about, she doesn't know how he could have done it. Honey, anyway, I forgot. Allegedly, he's your handler. Allegedly. But it's okay, Candace. Let's accept that your husband, who your alleged handler, is handling everything behind the scenes but doesn't have time to watch the podcast because he's constantly putting out fires. So how does he know how to put out the fire if he has not watched the podcast? How does he know what to say or what to do depending on what you did or what you said? Now it's making sense why you say some random things, the next day you change your mind, and then if you act as if you never said anything about it. Maybe it's because your handler doesn't actually watch a podcast to tell you, but you said this yesterday, you cannot refuse it now. Anyway, that's besides the point. All I wanted to say in this podcast today, in this small video, it's not a video I'm taking serious, none of you should. But I wanted to just lay down a few facts about Candace Owens' relationship with the people who have forged the sword called Candace Owens today, and why we now see how she is handing to them the same tool. She's using the tools they gave her, handing to them the same consequences they allowed her to hand over to others. She said it herself. I'm not the one who said it. I have been looking for a perfect way to put it out. And when I saw this video of hers while going through her archives, because I'm building a video on her on other things, I said, this is the perfect needle to knot this. She puts it perfectly well. While she was out here insulting every community, they were very happy about it. And she knows it. She knew it. And that's what I keep saying. The next community she's about to go after, I don't know. We know it's never going to be white men. Never. Because that is the community she adores, she loves. She will never lay out any criticism of them. It doesn't matter what they do or say. I might be proven wrong someday, and if that happens, I wrap my hands between my tail and I say, yes, for once, she proved me wrong in the wrong direction or the right direction. I don't know how that's going to play out. But when it comes to Candace Owens picks one community at a time. When she's done with them, she pushes to the next line. Right now, like she has just told you guys, Charlie Kirk is the only thing she wants to talk about right now. When she's done with it, she'll pick the next victim. But for now, you guys are going to have to enjoy this, okay? Charlie Kirk forged the sword. And now that she has turned on his organization, on his death, she is making the man sound like a total, complete caricature out here, putting out text messages that are so terrible. I don't know how you do that to a friend, or alleged friend, but she's out here doing everything possible to make sure that by the time she finishes this, Charlie Kirk is a caricature. She claims she's doing an investigation, but the tools, the things she needs to do this a proper investigation, she doesn't have them. She has not seen the autopsy result, which means she might not be able to. There are certain things she will not know. She has not been able to see the reports by the FBI or whatever, the investigative team. She even says that they are not doing an investigation. That's what she thinks, which means she doesn't know what's going on. Then the next minute, when she's having an interview with a CNN person, she says she has leaks from the FBI or from the authorities. And I'm asking, Candace, so are you trying to tell us that you trust the authorities when they leak to you, but we shouldn't trust them when they tell us something? Make it make sense. But what do I know? I'm not as smart as Candy Baby is and her Candy Landers. So my question now is, how far is she about to go before she let him go or let him have peace or rest? She claims that she had to go. This is about to be in the next video when I'm talking about the two widows. She says she had to take time off to recover, to grieve, but others are not taking time off to grieve. Oh my God. The widows, oof, the next video is about to be really funny. All right, guys. Thank you for indulging me through this rant. I'm sure it's going to be very long. Enjoy it. It has a lot of facts. I wish I could do this as a full deep dive video, but I don't have that kind of time to put on Candace today. Thank you. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section. I would like to hear your thoughts and your views. Until next time. Bye.